Fallout Season 2 opens with a flashback centered on a growing protest against Robco Industries, the company responsible for the Mr. Handy robots we saw in Season 1. Public sentiment has clearly turned against Robco, which is owned by Robert House. We briefly see House addressing the outrage on television before the scene shifts to a bar, where the real House watches the broadcast alongside disgruntled construction workers. House provokes a confrontation, and when the workers throw him outside, he manipulates one man into lowering his guard long enough to implant a small chip in the back of his neck. The device allows House to control the man's mind, forcing him to murder his fellow workers. However, the technology is still imperfect, and when House increases its output after the man turns on him, the worker's head explodes in a gruesome spray of blood. Calmly retrieving the blood-soaked chip, House mutters, "The world may end, but progress marches on." The story then returns to the Wasteland, where Lucy and the ghoul attempt to con a raider gang. The raiders prepare to hang the ghoul, while Lucy takes position in the nearby Dinky the T-Rex tower with their dog and a sniper rifle. The gang is revealed to be the Great Cans, a familiar faction from Fallout New Vegas, and the location, Novak, named after its broken no vacancy sign, is one of the first areas players encounter in the game. Lucy misses her chance to shoot and instead tries to negotiate, a decision that predictably fails and erupts into a brutally violent shootout. The ghoul revels in the slaughter as Lucy watches with clear discomfort, and a slow-motion head explosion evokes the VAT system from the games. The sequence efficiently reestablishes their dynamic. The ghoul is a hardened Wasteland veteran who enjoys killing, while Lucy still clings to diplomacy, even when it puts her at risk. After the carnage, Lucy and the ghoul spot New Vegas on the horizon, having tracked Lucy's father, Hank, to the city. Some backstory is revealed here, explaining that New Vegas survived the nuclear bombs thanks to a defensive system built by Robert House. The moment strongly implies that the ghoul shares a complicated past with House, hinting at deeper connections yet to be explored. The episode then cuts to a flashback focused on Cooper Howard, returning to the chilling moment when he overheard Vault-Tec and other corporations plotting to spark nuclear war for profit. His wife, Barb, leads the meeting, and this time we get a clearer look at Mr. House observing from a balcony above. Horrified, Cooper rushes home, grabs his daughter and dog, and attempts to flee. Chaos erupts when a test of the civil alert system triggers mass panic, as people mistake it for a real nuclear warning. Vault-Tec's presence looms large, and the contrast of Cooper comforting his daughter while staring at his own image on a Vault-Tec billboard is especially unsettling. From there, the episode checks in on the interconnected vaults. In Vault 33, the water chip has failed, forcing the residents to ration water. Betty, now overseer, struggles with the reality that leadership is far more stressful than she anticipated. When Reg asks about Norm, Betty reveals that he was sent to a leadership exchange program in Vault 31, confirming she knows he is effectively trapped there. She even suggests Reg start a support group, highlighting her dismissive attitude. The focus then shifts to Vault 32, where the newly appointed overseer Stephanie deals with a petty yet absurd complaint from a resident frustrated by the vault's slightly different layout compared to Vault 33. Chet is present, caring for Stephanie's baby, and tension simmers as she treats him like a servant. She refuses to assign him a real job because she wants him to remain her child's caretaker, despite not even bothering to name the baby. Stephanie's struggles with her computer systems transition the story into Vault 31, where Norm is actively sabotaging communications to prevent Bud Askin's brain in a jar from contacting the other vaults. Bud pressures Norm to enter his father's cryopod, where he would remain frozen until Reclamation Day, when everyone on the surface is presumed dead. As the vault goes dark, Norm crawls toward the cryopod, torn between obedience and resistance, leaving his fate uncertain as the scene fades. The episode returns to Lucy and the ghoul, and Lucy finally sheds light on the ghoul's motivation. He believes that following her father will eventually lead him to his own family, meaning he's convinced they somehow survived the apocalypse and remain alive more than 200 years later. Given that Hank himself is proof of such a possibility, the belief doesn't seem entirely far-fetched. Along the way, they discover a corpse torn in half, another brutal reminder of Hank's trail of violence and the moral dilemma Lucy continues to grapple with. Their path leads them uphill to a small roadside shop constructed from rusted, dilapidated cars where an elderly woman sells flea soup. While the ghoul initially plans to intimidate her for information, Lucy takes a gentler approach, buying a bowl and bravely tasting it before asking questions. The woman turns out to be the mother of the man who was ripped in half, and she's almost completely indifferent to his death, aside from the fact that he owed her money. She casually points them in the direction Hank went, and Lucy and the ghoul continue their pursuit. As they travel, the two share a thoughtful conversation about Lucy's reluctance to kill. The ghoul asks what she intends to do when she finally finds Hank, and Lucy insists she'll bring him to justice, though even she seems uncertain what that truly means. Their next destination is the Starlight Drive-In, a recognizable location from Fallout 4. There, they're confronted by echoes of the past. The ghoul realizes that Cooper Howard films were the last movies ever played at the drive-in, while their dog leads Lucy to an open vault door. Unsurprisingly, they feel compelled to go inside and uncover why Hank came there. Before that mystery unfolds, the episode cuts to another Cooper Howard flashback. Cooper meets Moldaver at a diner, while his daughter Janie plays whack-a-commie nearby. Moldaver, who previously pushed Cooper to spy on his wife, continues to manipulate events. Cooper shares what he overheard at the Vault Tech meeting, and in return, Moldaver reveals that Robert House has built a missile system in Las Vegas capable of launching nuclear strikes. She urges Cooper to go to Vegas and kill House, but Cooper refuses. He's an actor, not an assassin, and wants no part of it. Cooper returns home with Janie, attempting to process everything by cooking in their pristine, retro-futuristic kitchen. A radio broadcast discusses Robert House, and his ominous words eerily mirror Moldaver's warnings about impending nuclear war. When Cooper's wife Frances arrives, the scene lingers on a quiet, effective moment. The two stand in separate rooms, visibly drained, before finally meeting with forced smiles, masking the growing tension between them. Back in the present, the focus shifts to Norm, who has run out of both food and water in Vault 31. Bud's brain in a jar delivers a harsh ultimatum: enter the cryopod, or be injected with a lethal substance by the brain's robotic assistant. Instead of submitting, Norm chooses chaos. He kicks off the robot's needle arm and completely upends Bud's long-term plan by thawing every single one of the frozen management candidates at once. They were meant to awaken decades apart, but now they're all conscious and all trapped in Vault 31 with Norm. Following Norm's rebellion, the episode moves to Vault 24 for its central revelation. Lucy and the ghoul discover rows of long-decayed skeletons dressed in identical communist outfits, and one skeleton bears the same mind control device previously seen implanted by Robert House. It's revealed that this vault was designed to test House's mind control technology by conditioning its residents as communists. Hank came here to retrieve and experiment with these devices, specifically the small square implant. As Lucy and the ghoul explore deeper, they encounter a living man who was clearly brought to the vault recently by Hank. Moments later, his head explodes, spraying Lucy with gore and crystallizing her determination to stop her father from causing further harm. Leaving the remnants of the device beside a box of Sugar Bombs cereal, they exit the vault and resume the hunt. The episode then cuts to Hank arriving at an enormous Vault-Tec vault that appears to function as a headquarters, complete with a personal answering machine bearing his name. Wearing power armor, Hank strides inside, deciding it's time to get back to work. He pours himself a cup of coffee, dons a new suit and a gold-plated Pip-Boy, and heads to the communications room to contact Robert House. Hank's message to House reveals several key details. He mentions being in House's old territory of Las Vegas and discusses the mind control technology, referred to as a brain-computer interface. Hank explains that this vault succeeded in miniaturizing the device, but never perfected its functionality. Determined to solve the remaining flaws, Hank hopes that making it work will earn him some form of promotion from House. even if such ambitions seem grimly ironic in the Wasteland. In a flashback, we see young Maximus walking with his father when they encounter a delirious traveler wearing a neck device. Suspicious, Maximus's father inspects the traveler's cargo and discovers a nuclear bomb. He instructs Maximus to run home while he attempts to disarm it. Confident he has neutralized the threat, he realizes too late that he activated the countdown instead. In a frantic dash, he returns home and hides Maximus in the refrigerator. Seconds later, the bomb detonates. In the present, Maximus and a fellow knight raid a facility to recover a mysterious item. He delivers it to Quintus, who explains that it is the key to their new stronghold. Activating the device reveals a hidden military installation deep in the desert. Elsewhere, Lucy McLean speaks to the ghoul, suggesting that while his family might still be out there, they likely wouldn't recognize the man he has become. He silently walks away, ignoring her, until they hear cries for help from an abandoned hospital. Initially reluctant, the ghoul is persuaded by Lucy to investigate. In the basement, they find an injured tunic-clad woman. Lucy wants to use her stimpack, but the ghoul warns that resources are scarce. They soon encounter an injured man. The ghoul tests him, biting a finger, then discovers a bite mark on the man's back. Suddenly, distant noises hint at a larger threat. They are soon attacked by baby rad scorpions, which they easily dispatch. A massive rad scorpion follows, injuring the ghoul. Lucy is forced to choose between healing him or the tunic lady. She chooses the latter, promising to return for him. Back in the vault, cryogenic pods thaw, and the dwellers awaken, expecting Reclamation Day. Norm MacLean quickly informs them of the grim reality. They must find a way out. Panic ensues. Meanwhile, Hank MacLean experiments with livestock, implanting neck devices in mice to control them remotely, only for the devices to explode repeatedly. Maximus and the Brotherhood move into the hidden facility. Dane confronts Maximus, arguing that Quintus's meeting bypasses the Commonwealth's chain of command, risking civil war. Maximus insists that preventing history from repeating itself is their duty. Moments later, alarms sound throughout the complex. At the meeting, Quintus addresses the gathered leaders. One questions the Commonwealth's absence, prompting a discussion about power, cold fusion, and uniting the factions. Yosemite expresses skepticism about the Brotherhood's religious motives, while others challenge gender roles and autonomy. Lucy talks to the injured tunic lady, noting her outfit, but when she looks away, the woman is gone. Norm steadies the vault dwellers, framing their escape as a test of skill and loyalty. He guides them to a ladder leading to the surface, fulfilling Bud Askins's challenge. Hank awakens a human subject, explaining the experiment and neck implant. When the man protests, Hank restrains him, activates the device, and the man's head violently explodes. Lucy finds herself surrounded by torch-wielding warriors. She appeals to their humanity, emphasizing her goodwill. At the hidden facility, the Brotherhood observes two knights in combat. A man challenges Maximus, claiming he can defeat him. Maximus engages, initially struggling, but ultimately kills the attacker with his own knife. Dane leaves in disgust, while others cheer. The crowd's attention shifts as an airship arrives, revealing Paladin Xander Harkness from the Commonwealth. Quintus greets him, hinting at a new chapter in the Brotherhood's plans. Next, we see Thaddeus running a children's ghoul camp, overseeing the young ghouls with a strict but casual air. Lucy MacLean and the Tunic Lady are captured and brought before the Legion. Without hesitation, the Tunic Lady is executed, and Lucy is presented to Caesar. Attempting to talk her way out, Lucy is silenced by Lacerda Legate, who details the terms of her prima noctis. Laughing, Lucy mocks the outdated concept, confessing she is no virgin and has been with family members, leaving the Legion with no leverage. She is bound and forced to walk through the camp as Legate explains the ongoing war between multiple factions, including their own. When Lucy offers her counseling skills to help with family disputes, they ignore her and leave her strung up on a cross. Meanwhile, at the abandoned hospital, the ghoul removes rad scorpion venom from his leg, fainting afterward. This triggers a flashback to the day he helped Barb Howard pack for the vault while preparing to leave for Charlie Whiteknife. At a fundraiser for the American Veteran Entertainment Alliance, Cooper questions Charlie about Robert House, who is rumored to be developing weapons in Vegas. As Diane Welsh hands out awards, Cooper sneaks to the bathroom, running into Robert. They exchange cryptic banter about politics, friendship, and past deeds, highlighting Cooper's wariness and Robert's calculated nature. Back at the Brotherhood, Yosemite Elder confronts Quintus about the Codex and chain of command. Quintus argues the opportunity must not be wasted. Yosemite refuses to engage in rebellion, citing Xander Harkness's arrival as a complicating factor. Maximus proposes assassinating Xander to resolve tensions, but Quintus warns it would trigger war. Maximus encounters Xander, who critiques the current Brotherhood chapter and urges caution, advising that rebellion leads to chaos. The two agree to talk. The ghoul tracks Lucy to the Legion camp and realizes they face two leaders. Seeking reinforcements, he stops at an abandoned country club and finds Victor. Victor is vague about current leadership and reveals that Robert has left, but the ghoul presses on. Maximus and Xander take off in an airship. Xander warns that without the relic, hostilities are inevitable. Using power signatures, they locate a nearby complex and prepare to land. In the hills, the ghoul meets Captain Rodriguez of the NCR, learning that the Legion has isolated them for decades. Despite her assurances of winning, the ghoul realizes no reinforcements are coming and accepts vials of aid to proceed. At the Brotherhood compound, Maximus and Xander raid the facility, quickly neutralizing a malfunctioning bot by removing its power core. Back at the Legion camp, Lucy hallucinates while strung on the cross. The ghoul confronts Caesar, negotiating a trade, either submit to death or reveal the NCR's hidden holdouts. A flashback shows Cooper receiving a lighter from Charlie, symbolizing their shared past in the war. The ghoul rescues Lucy as the Legion chants for NCR extermination. He notices explosives throughout the camp, and before they can escape, the Legion opens fire. Lucy thanks him, but he warns her the danger isn't over. Xander and Maximus encounter baby ghouls at another site. Xander separates them into smooth and wrinkled skins. Thaddeus intervenes, pleading for mercy, calling them kids. Maximus stops Xander and kills him instead. Revealing his face, Thaddeus asks what Maximus has been doing. Maximus admits he may have just started a war. Thaddeus, as the camp manager, notes that they both have a lot to handle. In a flashback on the Alaskan front, we see Cooper Howard and Charles Whiteknife are deep into a raid wearing early Brotherhood power armor. The suits begin malfunctioning mid-mission, putting both men at risk. Command orders them to press on, but Cooper lies to protect his friend, telling Charles to retreat while he continues alone. Cooper doesn't get far before a squad of Chinese soldiers ambushes him, shouting orders in Mandarin as they unload their weapons. His armor absorbs the worst of it, but he's clearly outmatched. Just as they close in for the kill, a deathclaw erupts onto the battlefield, tearing through the soldiers with brutal efficiency. When the creature disappears into the snow, Cooper survives, his radio crackling to life with confirmation that the mission is a success, unaware that the Deathclaw did the real work. In the present, Maximus decides to bring Thaddeus back to the Brotherhood base. To protect the children at the ghoul camp, Thaddeus is forced into Xander's armor, posing as the fallen paladin. With the kids' lives at stake, he has no choice but to go along with the plan. Upon landing, Maximus pulls Dane aside and openly explains everything. Thaddeus's disguise, the dead Xander, and his intention to kill Quintus. Before acting, Maximus asks Dane to get the children to safety. Dane agrees, hiding the young recruits away from the chaos that's about to erupt. Inside the cafeteria, Yosemite Elder approaches Thaddeus and fully accepts that he is Xander. As they speak, Maximus confronts Quintus and prepares to shoot him. He hesitates for a moment too long. Gunfire explodes across the room as the Brotherhood turns on itself. Maximus escapes the facility amid the confusion. Dane catches up to him and hands over the fusion core, urging him to run while the Brotherhood collapses into open anarchy. No one follows. Elsewhere, Lucy wakes up among the remnants of the NCR alongside the ghoul. Captain Rodriguez offers Lucy weapons and a place among them, explaining they're trying to restore justice to the Wasteland. Lucy declines and leaves with the ghoul, continuing toward New Vegas. Outside the vault, Norm leads his group to a stash of food and supplies. As they eat, Ronnie approaches Norm and reveals he was Bud Askins' personal assistant. He admits he knows about the experiment and the importance of Phase 2. Meanwhile, Lucy and the ghoul reach the outskirts of New Vegas, entering through Freeside. Lucy dislikes the detour and instead marches straight toward the city gates. When they finally reach New Vegas, the city is eerily empty. The ghoul realizes radiation levels are dangerously high, and worse, death claws now roam the heart of the city. Lucy and the ghoul discover they are surrounded by 3 death claws. Forced to flee, the ghoul throws a grenade to distract the beasts, allowing them to slip past a gate and find safety. Later, the ghoul explains to Lucy that Vault Tech built vaults specifically for executives, including his wife and daughter. While he has found empty vaults in California and Oregon, none exist in Las Vegas. Lucy deduces that if her father is in Vegas, the ghoul likely believes his family's vault might be there too. The duo heads to Freeside, where Lucy wrestles with her drug cravings and the ghoul seeks solace at a bar. At the Freeside bar, the ghoul confronts his reflection, a stark reminder of the years he's endured. A news flashback shows various tech companies, including Vault Tech and Robco, arriving in Las Vegas for a pivotal summit led by Robert House. Cooper Howard and his wife Barb also attend the summit, encountering Hank McLean, who monitors Vault Tech's operations. A mysterious red vial exchanges hands, and Cooper refuses to kill to secure it. Inside the Lucky 38 resort, Cooper witnesses Robert House, both the imposter and the real man. House reveals that he has monitored Cooper throughout his life and foresees global events using mathematical paradigms. He discloses plans to acquire cold fusion technology from Vault Tech to achieve a form of immortality, intending to safeguard Las Vegas during the impending nuclear threat. Cooper questions the origins of the coming war, but House hints at a larger, unknown player orchestrating events. Their tense meeting concludes with House warning Cooper that he is no mere cowboy, he is a killer, and that the world's fate is anything but certain. Meanwhile, the snake oil salesman resurfaces on the road to Vegas. After a run-in with radroaches and a brief romantic misadventure with a robot, Hank captures the salesman and connects him to a mind control device, allowing him to erase all memories, a fate the salesman accepts without resistance. Elsewhere, Vault 31 escapees, led by Ronnie, discover Norm's deception at Vault Tech offices. They encounter Ma June and Barv, who reveal that Lucy may be dead and advise the escapees to return home. Norm uncovers mentions of the forced evolutionary virus on a computer but is attacked by Ronnie before he can fully investigate. Back in Freeside, Lucy manages to obtain Addictol to overcome her addiction, sneaking into Sunny's sundries and narrowly escaping a violent encounter with the shopkeeper. Using the Addictol, she purges herself of drugs and reunites with the ghoul in a hotel, only to discover the snake oil salesman has arrived with a message from Hank. The ghoul's family is in stasis, and their safety depends on bringing Lucy back to her vault. With that offer, the ghoul tranquilizes Lucy, but she fights back, wielding a power fist and incapacitating him. Hank then enters, calling her his sugar bomb, and Lucy finally succumbs to unconsciousness. In a flashback, we see Barb attending Vault Tech presentations detailing how nuclear bombs, water distribution, and premium highways will shape survival in the coming apocalypse. She meets the public-facing Robert House, who presents her with a device called the Automated Man, a variant of Hank's mind control technology. House suggests that while Vault Tech is being manipulated, Robco will benefit from the cold fusion she's providing. Alone later, Barb mourns her choices, staring at her family and questioning her path. Meanwhile, the ghoul struggles for survival after being impaled on a pole. In agony, he reaches for medicine while muttering that he is Cooper Howard and that his daughter is alive. Summoning his last strength, he climbs the pole but collapses, bloodied and exhausted. A massive super mutant arrives, cutting him free and dragging him to a church. There, the ghoul is treated with uranium, which begins to heal his injuries. The super mutant warns of an impending war orchestrated by the Enclave and urges the ghoul to join forces. The ghoul insists he works alone to reunite with his family, but the super mutant, revealing his green face, knocks him unconscious. Flashbacks reveal more about Barb and Cooper's strained relationship. Cooper questions whether Barb has always been monstrous or became so later. Barb insists her actions are to protect their daughter, while Cooper challenges whether she would sacrifice millions for Janie. In a corporate flashback, Barb gathers intel on Vault-Tech's cold fusion storage. Siggy Wiltzig reminds her that her life and her family's depend on following the company's rules, warning her that powerful corporate leaders will convene and that only she can execute the bomb drop to ensure results. Meanwhile, Lucy awakens in a Vault-Tech simulation of her home. She discovers mind-controlled individuals posing as Caesar's Legion members and a perfectly synchronized office workforce manufacturing more control devices. Lucy observes the simulation and finds her father, Hank, cooking while discussing humanity's unchanged nature. Seizing a moment, Lucy threatens Hank with a knife, demanding he face justice for his crimes. Hank willingly handcuffs himself, claiming he acted to protect her. Lucy leads him through the synchronized workforce, freeing the employees while allowing them to remain if they wish. When two additional unfixed individuals arrive, a Caesar soldier and Biff from the NCR, Lucy intervenes, turning Hank's mind control devices on to peacefully resolve the confrontation, demonstrating the power of controlled influence for order. Meanwhile, Maximus and Thaddeus are free from Brotherhood of Steel. They desert the suit to avoid tracking. Maximus refuses to sell cold fusion to the highest bidder, choosing instead to deliver it to someone trustworthy. Dogmeat leads them to the Ghoul, setting the stage for a potential alliance, though initial reactions are tense and uncertain. In a flashback, we see Stephanie Harper trapped in a vivid nightmare, fleeing toward Canada with Joan. Gunfire chases them across desolate terrain until a soldier in power armor confronts them beneath an airship. Just as the threat escalates, a third party intervenes with a suicide attack, and Stephanie awakens in the vault beside Chet. Recollections of this escape reveal the brutal realities of survival. Stephanie kills to secure food and crosses the border, advised to detach morally and survive by any means necessary. Back in the vault, preparations for Stephanie and Chet's wedding highlight tension beneath the surface. Chet silently questions the purpose of the marriage while Stephanie focuses on work. A clogged sink full of Woody's glasses sparks Chet's suspicion. When he confronts Stephanie, he uncovers startling truths. She is over 200 years old, Canadian-born, and not a native vault dweller. The revelation incites the vault's residents to turn against her, forcing Stephanie to retreat to her office and barricade herself from the crowd. Elsewhere, Vault Overseer Betty Pearson monitors water rationing and vault activities, leaving a box of keepsakes for Stephanie while expressing concern over her plans. Stephanie insists the deal for water remains binding, but refuses to make future promises, indicating her goals extend beyond the immediate vault. Outside the vault, Norm struggles with the repercussions of impersonating higher management. Fellow vault escapees debate whether he should be punished, knocking him out repeatedly. Norm attempts to contact Lucy for help, but she is preoccupied with plans to disable the mainframe. Vault 31 operatives eventually retrieve him, setting up further complications. The Ghoul, Maximus, Thaddeus, and Dogmeat traverse the Wasteland toward the Lucky 38. The Ghoul questions Maximus about the cold fusion, prompting assurances that Lucy will receive it responsibly. Despite lingering distrust, the Ghoul relents. Flashbacks reveal Stephanie's earlier encounters with Cooper Howard at the Lucky 38 and her curiosity about Vault-Tech, foreshadowing the current scramble for control of the cold fusion. Cooper later negotiates with Representative Welch to deliver the fusion to the president, offering a potential resolution to decades of resource conflict. In present-day Vegas, the Ghoul secures weaponry and NCR power armor, setting up a tense showdown with Deathclaws on the Strip. Maximus and the Ghoul fight side by side, with Maximus decapitating a Deathclaw while the Ghoul gains access to Lucky 38. He deposits the cold fusion into a lab, reactivating House's consciousness within the system. Flashbacks to Cooper and Barb highlight the moral weight of their mission, saving their family by saving the world. Meanwhile, Lucy navigates the Vault-Tech offices, confronting the ethical implications of Hank's mind control experiments. Though she recognizes the system's effectiveness in preventing violence, she is determined to shut it down. Lucy handcuffs Hank to prevent interference, revealing the depth of her understanding of morality and the Wasteland's complexity. She discovers Representative Welch's head connected to the mainframe, underscoring the stakes of Hank's unchecked power. Next, we witness chaos within Caesar's legion. Lacerta Legat retrieves a message from a fallen soldier declaring Caesar's rule ends with him. Legat murders his companion, consumes the evidence, and emerges wearing Caesar's crown. As the legion rallies behind him, he announces plans to reclaim Vegas and establish a new imperial seat at Caesar's palace. Inside Vegas, the ghoul activates the system containing Robert House's consciousness. House boasts that despite the destruction of his physical body, he has survived through cold fusion. He warns that damaging the fusion core could cause devastation far beyond Earth. When questioned about a hidden vault, House admits he withheld information until the ghoul delivered the device. A bargain is struck. Access to the vault in exchange for obedience, sealed by forcing the ghoul to wear a Pip-Boy. House reminds him that everyone ultimately serves House. As the ghoul travels underground, House explains he designed Vegas to endure the apocalypse, but was outmaneuvered by a hidden enemy, one tied to the Enclave. He reveals that the ghoul unknowingly delivered the fusion core to them long ago, becoming part of a far greater threat. A flashback shows Cooper Howard and Barb celebrating the handoff of the fusion core to the president before leaving Vegas. They encounter Hank and Stephanie early in their relationship. As Cooper and Barb walk through an airport terminal, phones begin ringing. Cooper answers one and speaks with House, who insists worse forces are at work and that Cooper's faith in heroism has failed. Cooper is arrested moments later, promising Barb he'll take responsibility. Back in the present, the ghoul reaches the Vault Tech complex. House directs him toward Sublevel 7, where his family is supposedly stored. Elsewhere, Lucy discovers Representative Welch's severed head still functioning within Vault Tech systems. The head begs for death, and Lucy reluctantly ends its life. Hank explains that House wanted obedience through automation, while his own work aimed to refine control. He reveals miniature implants capable of manipulating behavior. When Hank attempts to control Lucy, the ghoul intervenes, shooting Hank and refusing to finish him. He hands Lucy a weapon and leaves to search for his family. Outside, Maximus defends Freeside from a Deathclaw assault using malfunctioning power armor. Though overwhelmed, he continues fighting as locals gamble on his survival. Thaddeus assists from above, but Maximus is eventually forced out of the armor. Drawing strength from memories of his parents, he confronts the beasts with improvised weapons until NCR snipers arrive and take control. In the vaults, Norm is captured by Vault 31 survivors. As mutant roaches swarm, Ronnie seals Norm outside while trapping the others inside, killing them all. Norm survives, rescues Claudia, and prepares to return home. In Vault 32, Stephanie barricades herself and activates an Enclave emergency signal using a Pip-Boy, initiating Phase 2. The Enclave receives her transmission, along with others made throughout the season. Lucy escorts a wounded Hank outside, revealing she implanted a control device in him. Hank admits the surface world was always the real experiment and that his latest technology has already been deployed. He wipes his own memory, leaving himself empty and unrecognizing. Lucy abandons him at the lucky 38 steps before reuniting with Maximus. Together, they look out over Vegas, aware that war is coming. Meanwhile, the ghoul enters the vault expecting to find his family, but the cryogenic chambers are empty. Inside Barb's container, he finds a postcard pointing to Colorado. Rejecting House's insistence that hope is fantasy, the ghoul removes the Pip-Boy and leaves with Dogmeat, convinced his family is still alive. After the credits, the Brotherhood of Steel unveils plans for Liberty Prime Alpha, signaling yet another looming threat.